Hello. So, for the first time ever on this channel, I'm shooting without my phone. I dug out my old T3i and I'm deliberately shooting this low res to guarantee a longer running time because I really don't think we need higher res for this, for the purposes of this. Really, I don't think we do. So, as promised, today I'm going to watch Bernard K. Smith, my part in his downfall. Now this is an interesting one because I was very proud of this and I remember it very fondly, and now it's unlisted on my channel, which is a shame. But one of the reasons I did that, I know there was a time where I was hiding the older videos, especially the ones where, like, as time went on, they just didn't make any sense. Like the early videos that I did, a lot of the photo montage stuff, that was a mistake. I mean, I think my channel should reflect my whole history, and the only reason why, if something is unlisted for too long, if you make it public again, YouTube publishes it like it's a new video, which is irritating. Then you have to get all these comments and saying why did you upload this again? But and also, the other unfortunate fact about this video is that it's part 1 of part 2, and I never finished it. And I will go into why. So this, Ishmael wrote this. This was during the period where I had no camera. So I was either doing the eBay sale to get a new camera, or I was just waiting for it to arrive. But there was a period there, after YouTube Is My Life, I was cameraless, and so he wrote this specifically, to give me something to work on during that period. And also, because on YouTube Is My Life, because I put my name on it, people were finding my Weeping Prophet channel. So Weeping Prophet started to get like more attention. In fact, at that time, Weeping Prophet probably had as many subscribers as this channel does now, which at that time was was more. It was like a So this piece is very meta, and it was also bringing me, or at least a fictional version of me, into the narrative, into the Bernard narrative. So I don't know if this is canon. Should we say this is canon, Ishmael? I think it's canon. It works in that way. So I'm going to watch part 1. And then, after that, I have the script for part 2. And, again, I will go into why this was never finished. It's pretty self-explanatory, but here we go. Make sure it's nice and loud. Bernard K. Smith, my part in his downfall.
It was late summer, 2006. The days were beginning to shorten, giving a wondrous, painterly quality to the mid-afternoon light. In late summer, the green of the trees appears greener somehow, and the endless, innocent laughter of the children skipping and dancing in the park seems laughier. It's a beautiful time of the year. There isn't a more human season, vibrant, visceral, but at the same time somehow melancholy, as we cannot help but reflect upon the season's passing, as those bright days shift, unbidden, into fall. Of course, I missed all that. I was inside with my laptop with curtains drawn, eating suntan from a plastic container with 16 cups of coffee lined up next to my desk. Well, my pet message board, the IMDb, moves fast. Always something going on. Don't want to take yourself out of the loop for a second by walking away from it. Oh, Jesus, I blinked. Mustn't blink. Must not blink. It was approaching 9 p.m. The edges of the clouds were tinged with Tyrian purple, and the air was... Oh, fuck all that. It was 9 p.m. And I saw him for the first time. Oh, yeah.
Ash.
There was something magical about him, even before I read his first post. Maybe it was that username with its curious spelling and its air of authenticity.
IMDb.
Bernard K. Smith. K for confidence.
See, now this serves as a record for IMDb as well.
Talk about movies with fellow nerds. Usually the same 12 films over and over again. Yes, I know what you think about Godfather. Now shut the fuck up. But that's not the point. Bernard is different. Bernard's posts were different. While other people weighed the relative merit...
Colonel Bogey's March is perfect IMDb music.
Bernard.
I knew I needed you so.
I'd never fallen in love with a text before. This Bernard seemed to be everything I wanted to be, as colorful and intoxicating as a late summer's day. Okay, I said I'd stop that. No words could possibly convey my disappointment when I discovered this Bernard was actually a man. I should have known there and then the story would never have a satisfactory outcome. But I had to know about him. I had to somehow be close to him. I built up the courage to send him a personal message, and I was amazed that he actually wrote back. It was like having an actual IMDb autograph. We started PMing each other regularly over the next few weeks. I felt so alive. We had so much in common. He was an actor, I was an actor. He liked Doctor Who, I liked Doctor Who. He loved talking about himself. I loved talking about him too. Bernard K. Smith.
This is me trying to be
Some
Scorsese.
nights I dreamed and threaded messages.
Just with, photo
And then
montage.
one day I took a couple deep breaths and I typed the message that would change my life forever. I suggested to him, maybe me and you should work on a project together over on YouTube. YouTube, you wondered? What the hell is YouTube? I sent him the link, and then I waited for the response. 12 cups of coffee and 25 Gunga tea, and later, Bernard still hadn't replied. I pushed him too far. To think I'd been presumptuous enough to believe a guy like that, a guy with a middle initial, would ever stoop to working with a guy like me. I felt stupid and contagious, whatever that means. I'd lost him. Somehow I managed to pick up the pieces and get on with my life. And by the time fall...
I put all my favorite songs in this.
turned to winter. I'd forgotten all about Bernard K. Smith. I could no longer stand to spend any more time on the IMDb, where the ghost of him seemed to linger. His character traits etched in every sock puppet account I stumbled across. Was that him? Was that him? So instead, I began making movies on YouTube. Nothing fancy, just photo montages with narration. Kind of thing, to be honest, I wouldn't bother doing anymore. They're kind of fun, but I moved on. Don't want to get stuck doing the same style forever. Winter turned to spring, turned to summer. You can probably guess what happened next. Actually, it's probably not worth mentioning. Winter turned to spring, turned to summer.
I love the soundtrack.
Winter turned to spring, then accidentally skipped summer and went straight into fall, and that would be worth mentioning. Or if a whole new season suddenly turned up and nobody knew what it was called, that would be worth mentioning. Let's just say some time went by. I made a video called Jazz Dispute. A lot of people liked it, and I made a lot of new friends.
Oh, here's the Gremlins
Mr.
soundtrack.
Safety, SXE Phil. These were all my friends. I wasn't actually spoken to any of them, but I felt as close to them as any of my real best friends. Oprah, Regis, Lucky the Leprechaun, great little guy. I just finished watching an SXE Phil video for the 8th time and practicing some of his mannerisms and facial gestures so I could learn to be a better person. I decided to take a break and took a glance at some of the top-rated videos for the day, and there he was. Bernard K. Smith. I recognized him immediately. I knew
Willy Wonka.
He'd only been a typeface to me before, just some words on a screen, but a presence that overwhelming is easily recognized in any form. And now, in this video called The Visitor by Church of Blow, I could see his face. He was exactly as I'd always imagined he'd be, as I'd always wanted him to be. An implausibly handsome-looking man, glowing, effervescent, and wearing what looked suspiciously like an old lady's dress. SXE Phil had been nothing more than a substitute, a prop to occupy my time. Bernard was back. I wished I could be the guy wearing his face as a mask in the Visitor video. Some weird idea kept kicking inside me. Maybe I was. Maybe I was. That was me on that screen dancing behind Bernard K. Smith. I was certain of it. But then, with the clouds darkening in the sky and a heavily symbolic, if slightly too obvious, storm brewing in the atmosphere, I thought, hold on a minute, Mr. So-Called Smith. You've got more subscribers than me? My Jazz Dispute video's been seen more times than all your videos put together, and you've got more subscribers than me? And who was it that introduced you to YouTube in the first place? That's right, me. The me you so casually tossed aside late last summer when the children were green and the trees were painterly quality or whatever it was. I downloaded The Visitor, improved it in ways you could only dream of, Mr. Smith, and re-uploaded it to my own channel. But that was only the first step in what would be a very cool revenge. This story would have a happy outcome after all. Etc., etc. Thank you very much.
Wow. Sometimes I do tend to go too fast. There are parts of that where it's like, could anyone make sense of that? Like especially early on, and other parts where I think it maybe moves along at a nice clip. But yeah, see the gag here. sometimes I would upload extras. Like when I did The Visitor on Church of Blow, I posted the outtakes on Weeping Prophet. So yes, so that's worked into this narrative where I was reworking. Anyway, just explaining some of these old gags. And also, I was only a year and a half into YouTube, but I was returning to my roots, my doing photo montage roots, and considering I was still just using iMovie, an old iMovie. It was a big step up from my earliest ones, and I'm still impressed with what I managed to do on that old shitty computer. But yeah, so I did that, and I know it took a long time. I know that like when I was editing that, I couldn't play it back on my laptop. I would have to sometimes guess where things were, because like as soon as I started playing it, it would freeze, like the image would freeze. So considering that, it turned out extraordinarily well, and that's why when it came to the sequel, like I just wasn't ready to dive back in and do it all over again. It was so hard. It was so hard to do just the really complicated editing. Also narration. I'm very meticulous about narration. And actually doing that and doing something that fast, I run out of breath really, really fast. So just a lot of cutting with the narration, with the images and all that stuff, picking the music, which is the most fun. So I kept putting off part 2, putting it off, and it wasn't until over a year later, it was sometime in 2009, where I was thinking, I gotta actually finish this. And so I started to do it, and I might even have it somewhere. It might be like the first 30 seconds or something, where I started cutting it together. And also, I had this weird idea. It made no sense, but because there's a section in this, and I'll get to this in a moment, where it's about YouTube is my life, and I just had this idea of like doing a fictionalized version of YouTube is my life, or of like the behind the scenes, as if I staged some kind of like live vocal session. But it's like I picked people who weren't even in the video, like some gray bloke, Max Cook, Andy McGaffigan, an old school YouTuber, and Numdoll. So I wanted to, so I got the 4 of them to do this live recording, and I was so I had that sequence done, and again, like I once I started getting into the editing of it, I don't know, it's this script is very long. It's very long and very complicated, and also like so much time had passed, and so many of the in-jokes, like I didn't know if people were in tune with it anymore. So it just fell to the wayside, and then I ended up using the YouTube is my life recording sequence for my YouTube, which was my Guy Madden spoof. It just fit into that for some reason. I think it probably fit even better because it was just weird. It made no sense. Whereas, it would have made less sense to be part of this, I think, since this had more of a connection to like putting me into the Bernard narrative. And so, without any further ado, here is the script for Bernard K. Smith, my part in his downfall, which I never completed. For 3 days and nights, I cackled to myself as I pored over esoteric diagrams, flowcharts, maps, blueprints of diagrams, blueprints of blueprints, flowcharts about flowcharts. I'm not entirely sure what a flowchart is. Is that the one that looks a little like a pie? In the end, I realized I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and instead decided to plot some kind of revenge on Bernard K. Smith. And soon I hatched a plan so deliciously fiendish I could have hugged myself, except that hugging and evil really don't seem to make comfortable bedfellows. Just to be certain, I did a Google image search on Pol Pot. Nope, no photographs of him hugging himself, at least not in the public archive. I have, like so many of us, wasted far too many hours of my life surfing the web for pictures of mass-murdering Asian dictators engaged in unexpected activities, and all I really have to show for it is this photo of Mao Zedong on a trampoline. So I bypassed all the hugging and got straight down to the evil. My plan was brilliant in its simplicity. I would send this Bernard K. Smith a message, tell him I was glad to catch up with him after all these years, rekindle our relationship, and, while pretending to admire and enjoy his work, I would secretly resent and despise him. Ha! I wouldn't mean a word of it. I'd be totally lying. Oh yeah, I think you're a really great actor and a nice person too. Ha! Not. Okay, it wasn't such a great plan. I think I may have oversold it to you. But it was better than that plan I once had of repeatedly jabbing myself in the eye with a Phillips screwdriver. Now that just hurt. But my Bernard Downfall plan, which I codenamed my Bernard Downfall plan, I'm not good with codes, had unanticipated consequences. I sent him a YouTube friend request. He accepted. Yeah, typical you, Smith. Just the kind of behavior I'd expect, fucker. I know what you're doing. You just want to put your lousy video advertising bulletins on my channel page. What a shit. I sent him a message. He responded. Sure, he remembered me from IMDb. He'd been meaning to get in touch, actually, but time just got away from him. How the hell was I? Total bastard. I must admit, for a while, it was almost like the good old days. I thought about the alcumulus clouds of did I say that right? Alcumulus clouds of summer. There isn't a more human type of cloud. And the birds sang merrily in the trees as we exchanged messages. But remember, bird song is territorial. Those pretty tunes are really birds saying, hey, you, get the fuck out of my tree before I break your spine. Seriously? Hello? Spam call. Hey, you, get the fuck out of my tree before I break your spine. I would not allow myself to be distracted from my mission. And I realized I could use Bernard's greatest character flaw against him, which, if nothing else, is a good narrative device with a tradition going back to the ancient Greeks. Hubris. And what was Bernard K. Smith's hubris? His ceaseless capacity for talking about himself. And that's what would lead to his downfall. Screw you, Sophocles, you big ponce. I was able to gather from him such painstaking detail about the videos he planned to upload. I was able to make almost identical videos and upload them to my Weeping Prophet channel at almost the exact same moment. See that thunder you used to have there, Smith? Oops, I seem to have inadvertently stuck it in my pocket. So sorry. Church of Blow, he told me during our lengthy exchanges, was written by some shadowy British guy. Oh, really? Now, isn't that interesting? What's his YouTube username, Mr. Smith? I'd like to send him a congratulatory message. I know how to handle a British writer. Lamers. They're easy to get rid of. One sniff of interest from the BBC and they're off like week-old milk. Hello, Mr. Moth. I'm Mr. Flame. Come to Auntie Beeb's warm public service broadcasting bosom and let's all pretend it's the 1950s again and television can be a force for good in the country. Easy peasy. I sent links to Church of Blow to the head of comedy commissions at that venerable, crumbling organization and told her under no circumstances to email the Church of Blow channel, but to contact the writer through his own. Then I sat back and admired my handiwork. I thought about getting a flashlight from the garage so I could shine it upwards into my face just to complete the satisfying effect of purest evil, but I didn't want to move from my chair. Too busy admiring my handiwork of purest... Hey, what the fuck? He's carrying on. He's uploading more videos. But I destroyed you. I totally destroyed you. Church of Blow just carried on regardless. Unbe-fucking-lievable. Bernard posted videos as himself without a writer. Although I had my suspicions about that, but this probably isn't the time or the place for a full textual analysis. I needed a new tactic. Church of Blow uploaded a video called A Featured Video. With one hand in one browser window I wrote, "Oh Bernard, your videos are so much better now you've dropped the Cornelius Blow character. You really do deserve to be featured, dude." And with my other hand in the other browser tab, "Dear Wendy Carlos, are you aware that your copyrighted music for A Clockwork Orange, which you somehow managed to finagle yourself a composing credit on, despite the fact it was written in the 17th century by Henry Purcell and all you did was play it on a fucking Moog, is being used without your permission on a video on YouTube? Shocking, ain't it, what some people will stoop to? Really, when you think about it, the Church of Blow might as well be stealing the food directly from your table." 2 days later, the video was served with a DMCA takedown notice, and my revenge was finally complete. Hey, what? This fuckhead won't lie down, will he? What the... Die, little pig! Don't just put the fucking video with a different version of the music. That is so not fair. Okay, think about this. Let's just... When he sent him the message, "You really do deserve to be featured, dude," what did he say? What did he say? Oh, you know what? I really thought I wanted to be featured, but actually, it's a blast having under 1,000 subscribers. I always wanted to be part of an elite. In a way, I feel I'm losing my rampant ego and just enjoying myself. This could change my whole attitude to life. I wouldn't want anything to stand in the way of that, the way of that, the way of that, the way of that. I went back to my diagrams, my flowcharts, and... Still no use, really, although I did accidentally solve the economic crises of 2 Central American republics. Not sure how I did that, but they were grateful all the same. I got together with a couple of people I knew, and the 3 of us wrote a song about haters. I offered it to Bernard. "Hey Bernard, I was going to make a musical number, but I really want my channel to be featured on a homepage, so I'm not going to. Maybe you'd like to do this instead?" Spider, parlor, fly. Take that, Smith, you ugly, unblinking bitch. He was worried that the video might get featured, so I suggested he make it as a collaboration with some more popular YouTubers. Those kind of video love-ins never get featured. He'd be pretty safe if he put clips of some of my friends in it. I set it all up for him. And because I'm so very clever and he's so very, very stupid, he went for it. He made the video. It got featured. It was pretty good, too. Got pretty popular. Even that Naltz guy liked it, and that Naltz guy can't concentrate on anything over 90 seconds long. Thousands upon thousands of new subscribers flooded to Church Below, and this time, finally, with relief, I could sit back and enjoy the bruised fruits of my labor, the vast damage I had done to the YouTube career of Bernard K. Smith. K for cornered. K for catastrophe. K for cockmuncher. Actually, I wonder what the K does stand for. I should probably ask him. I felt complete, light, almost vertiginous with joy. After all that time and chasing him across 2 different websites, I had closure. I could forget all about Bernard K. Smith and allow him to fade into the ether, into YouTube oblivion. I decided to take a walk down by the river on my way to the Thai takeaway, to skim some stones, throw a stick at some stranger's dog, to toss my head back in the invigorating breeze, and to laugh with abandon at the sheer, unsurpassed beauty of the day, whatever the season. The sunlight dappling majestically through the leaves of the trees, and I was free in this, just as Lebanese said, the best of all possible worlds. The end. What? Wait a minute. He got featured. Using our song and my contacts, he got fucking featured. I got totally fucking played, didn't I? Scene. So that's, Now, if you went to my live show in 2008 at the St. Lawrence Theater, you saw me do that live. And Lorelai's the only one who did, so so she saw it. Yeah, but that was a lot. That was a lot to do. So never got finished, which is a shame. It's yeah, well, what can you do? And it's not the only 2-parter that I never completed. I didn't complete Doctor Who and the Planet of Goo also, but man. Oh, by the way, just to take a little detour, this is this is the noise our heater makes, and we like to call it Mickey Mouse because it's not quite reaching the Mickey pitches yet. It's a very mild screech, but once the steam really gets going, it starts to go ha 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 ha. So it's like a persistent Mickey Mouse laugh orgasm. I'm sure I'll show you that in the future. So anyway, is there anything else to say about this? Oh yeah, I was talking about Doctor Who and the Planet of Goo, which, you know, that was another video where it was such a, oh god, it was That was the video that I burnt myself out on. Like, after that, I couldn't... That's the reason I left YouTube for a long time. That video is the actual reason. Because I just destroyed myself. And it was so difficult. And I don't know. I was underwhelmed by the response it got. And I just couldn't. I couldn't. And even now, it's like too recent. I could never pick it up and complete it, which is a shame. Yeah, the two-parters, man. They always seem to get me. But, it's a shame. But there we go. Bernard K. Smith, my part in his downfall. I have no idea how long this has been going for. But next time I will continue with the audition. Which is the video I made once I had my camera back. See, once I had the camera again, it's another reason I set this aside. I was ready to just get back into doing the live action stuff. But yeah, this has been fun, and I will see you next time. Cheers.